Hey there, fellow fright fans and horror aficionados and Halloween fanatics. Welcome to where? Well, the Masked Fanatic, of course, but specifically, look, we're in Old Monster Toy Corner with the old monster. But in spite of that, we're not here to talk about old toys. We're here, of course, to talk about another exciting mask in the vast history of cool Halloween masks. Tonight, a mask that didn't get a lot of love from the public. This right here, which was called simply Jack. Yeah, not a real imaginative name, but it gets the point across. What is he? He's a jack-o'-lantern. Sure, he's a pumpkin, right? Now this Don Post Studios mask was only available from 2010 through 2012, and 2012 of course was the year when Don Post Studios was bought and immediately closed down forever by Gemmy Industries. But this guy was available 10 through 12, and he did make it into some costume shops and Halloween chain stores and such, but there doesn't seem to have been a lot of love for poor old Jack, and I think I know why that is. But let's look at what I like about him. Look at that face. That is a great character face, and I know there have been a million generic pumpkin and jack-o'-lantern masks with, you know, every variation on you know, smiling and frowning and every kind of spooky face. I just think this one is really cool. This is a really cool face with a lot of character. Right? Has a lot of menace, but it's fun. It's got a feisty sort of look to it that I like. Now, I said there wasn't a lot of love for it. Why is that? Well, it's a cheapie. It was a cheap mask. It sold for around 30 bucks, but somebody said to me, it looks like it ought to be about $5.99. I can see where you get that. I could see why somebody might say that, but if it were selling for $5.99, it might look similar to this, but it wouldn't be nearly as nice as this really is. Strange as it seems, I think this is a nicer mask than it looks like. How is such a dumb thing possible? Well, that sounds like a stupid statement probably, but here's what I mean by that. What do you mean by that, Dr. Lady? Yeah, what do you mean by that? Well, here's what I mean by that. Yeah, when you just look at it, you think, oh, it just looks like plastic, and nah, you know, it looks like one of those things that people put over the porch light, you know, on the porch, those porch light cover thing. It just looks like plastic, but it's actually pretty nicely made and a lot more deluxe than it appears on first glance. Now, obviously, you've got these shreddies, these fabric tattered things hanging down, which add a lot to it, I think. You've got a fabric hood that goes down the back of your head when you're wearing it, and in addition to, oh, and the stem is latex, by the way. The face is plastic, but the stem is a separate piece and is actually made of rubber. So he's got a latex stem, he's got a fabric hood, he's got fabric fiddly bits hanging down here, he's got a plastic face, he's got mesh fabric, he's got net in the eyes, so when you're wearing it, people can't see your face through the eyes. And here's the nicest thing about him that doesn't show until you actually pick one of these up and hold it in your hands, is that instead of just being the piece of thin vacuum formed plastic like a lot of the cheap sell-through masks are, this one's actually lined. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a black foam liner on the inside and a piece of foam that goes right here when you're wearing it that makes it fit properly onto your head and keeps it from, you know, moving around and gouging you in the eyes and so forth. Holds it out so that you've got room for your nose, because you can see Jack here doesn't really have a nose. So if you tried to put that on, you'd have problems with it being flat. Now, were this an El Cheapo, you know, $5 or $10 mask, it would probably not have the foam and the liner going on. But even at this late stage in the game, God bless them, the folks at Don Post Studios were trying to go the extra mile and make things a little bit nice and a little bit distinctive and kind of deluxe. You can see the elastic strap here that goes on the back, and I just think this was a very cool mask for either for, you know, the haunted house. This would be great to jump out at somebody in your cornfield scene, or a wonderful mask for haunted corn mazes, anything like that. He'd be great. But or just, you know, Halloween party, or just on the porch to frighten the trick-or-treaters, to make them you know, go back to their own neighborhood. Yeah, get their candy somewhere else, those kids. Yeah, either to scare the trick-or-treaters or to decorate the porch or what have you. And well, it's not really a big collectible. It was never really looked at as, oh, everybody needs one of these in their collections, because it is kind of a cheapie. But as cheapies go, I think old Cheap Jack here was a very nice one. And again, a wonderful sculpture with a lot of character and a great design for the face. They never did a deluxe version, just this one, which was part of a loose series that they came out with at that time called The Unexpected. And there was a Ghost the Unexpected, and you know, some others that were just something the unexpected. And those masks tended to have these molded plastic faces. But you know, on first glance, it might not look like it's that nice a mask. It looks good, but it doesn't look like it's worth as much money as it was selling for, until you turn it over and see, oh, it's actually padded and lined, and it's actually pretty nice quality. So you may still be able to find one of these, because you know, that wasn't all that long ago, and again, this wasn't something that was snapped up by collectors, so you can probably still find a Don Post Jack online. And well, if you don't want to wear it, you could always hang it on the porch light at Halloween, because it's such a cool face with so much character and so much personality, and it just embodies the spirit of Halloween fun, I think. Don't you think? Sure you do. And until next time, remember, as my great-great-grandpa used to say, if the task is too big for a thingamajig, you can handle the job with a thingamabob. That's why we put him in the home early.